Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Microsoft Unboxed. This is episode 88. I am your host today, Kareem Anderson, and I am joined by
David Allen. Hope everybody's doing well out there on this Friday. At least that's the day we're recording. Don't know if that's the day you're listening to it. So whatever day you listen or watch the pod, I hope you're having a good day.
Yes, it is a pretty lovely day down here in Florida. I don't know what the weather's like for you up there. How are you doing?
About 80 degrees here. So I'm gonna do the pod with you, and I'm gonna put on some shorts and head outside. For us, it's, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago I was talking about it was cold and icy, and we've actually hit 80 for the first time this season today. So
well, there you
outdoors
go.
For me it is.
Yeah, and hopefully where you guys are at, it's getting back to whatever normal is for you out there. If it's rainy in Seattle, sucks to be you. If it's sunny in California, go enjoy it. If you're in the Midwest and it's, windy, hopefully it's not too crazy. Nevertheless, we are here to talk about Microsoft news, and there actually was a little bit of news, despite there being a huge Mobile World Congress event down in Barcelona. Is it Barcelona? Yes, Barcelona. And Microsoft is there, in spirit via its partners like Lenovo, Asus, and everybody else. It didn't really have any big announcements itself about anything. And it's been interesting that they are what we consider relatively dry when it comes to even hardware news. I thought usually for a minute there, they were on a cycle of announce a version of a Surface device in January, release it in March, and announce another bigger, other device that would come out in the summer. We haven't had that in the last year, so who knows what they're doing when it comes to hardware. But as far as software news, we have the Copilot sidechain. This is a thing that Microsoft's testing right now, which is basically adding a browser into the Copilot app, so you won't even need to go to Edge in order to get your information there. We have thoughts. We have predictions, David and I, and we'll get into those about what Copilot sidechain means and what it means for the GUI of Windows in general. We also got Microsoft finally announced the official dates for build and where it's going to be at. We have a little context about why it's moving from Seattle to San Francisco. If you've been following the site, then you probably already know. A little spoiler alert for those who haven't caught up yet. We also have the latest Pixel drop. Came with a bunch of stuff. So if you are a Pixel fan or a Pixel user, we're going to go into some of those details. Apple, for the 11th, 12th year in a row, has decided to announce a bunch of stuff during Mobile World Congress because it likes to snatch the carpet from underneath people. So we got MacBooks. We got a new device that everybody's kind of raving about and interested in with the new MacBook Neo. We also have iPhones. I think they did tablets as well. They upgraded the tablets a little bit with the new chip and stuff. We'll get into those details and what this means, this new MacBook Neo, what this means for Windows and Chromebooks in the future. We have thoughts about that as well. Then we'll do a roundup of Mobile World Congress, just some of the highlights about new devices, things like that, things that you guys might be interested in. We'll talk a little bit about AI and chipsets as well. Then we'll get into free play days. I know it sounds like a lot. We're gonna try to fly through it and get you guys back out and enjoy your lovely weekend. With that being said, I've been talking, rambling, but let's get into David's rant for the week.
My rant for the week, I'm going to keep it brief. We talked about it while we were on mic. We just weren't recording. This one is actually tech related. I've been working on an app. Let's just call it an app for now. Script app, whatever you want to call it. It takes and I'm sure you streaming and you gamers out there have seen it. So we've seen stuff like it, like Eclipse.gg or Sizzle.gg, where you import your VOD and you get back your gaming highlights for posting on your social services, YouTube, TikTok, etc., etc. Well, I'm stingy because I like my money in my pocket. And this, as the economy frugal. As we're fighting wars and things are getting more expensive in the world, I'm paying more attention to the money that I'm keeping in my pocket. So I decided to use my knowledge and some light abilities to write myself what I call a, stream clipper. Well, we've got all these AI models out there. I've not tried Claude. I get it. I wanted to try it and stick with what I knew and supplement that with our popular AI models, Copilot and Gemini. To make the story a little shorter, you do it the Copilot way. You get 15, 20 pages of code, which is expected, and you get all these resource files with it that Copilot says you need, that Copilot says you need to create, and you create those, and the app runs. The app ran in the Copilot way of building it. So then I decided to take the same project, same code base that I had started, and ask Gemini the same questions. Gemini condenses this down to 2 pages, no independent files, no independent resources. I asked Gemini for a little help building the GUI because I'm not a graphic artist when it comes to building that type of thing. And it scaffolded out around my functions, and I'm still looking at 1 page for an app. It's based on Python. I have a 1-page app, app.py. For those developers out there, Python space app.py, it runs. You go over to the Copilot version, Python space app.py. It's got to check for all those resources. It's got to read all the files. Give it another 30 seconds. Then it's ready. And if you try to take the Copilot version to another PC, it ain't happening. You take the Gemini version to a different PC, you zip your folder, you unzip it, you run your installer, you're good to go. Now, there's developers out there that, oh, David, this is how you do it. This is how you fix it. I understand that. I can figure that out. My point here is, why are our AI models so different when coding is pretty much the same? When you pick a language, your outputs should be similar.
So you're paying for the differentiators. This is the same model you use for anything that has a standard customer set base. So again, if I'm a store and I sell potatoes, the only differentiator is either the type of potato or the price. True. And if everybody's selling AI and you can't really differentiate on the price right now, then you differentiate on the flair, the design, the output. And again, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I think it might be to the detriment of development. Like you should be able to have a consistent development framework and development code and everything executed correctly.
Yep.
But I think what they're trying to say is, if you get ours, you get it this way. At the end of the day, it should balance itself out to what you need, but it has a little bit of flair, a little bit of design, a little bit of change, something that's different. And again, if you like coding and doing extra steps for no apparent reason, go with Copilot. If you want something straightforward, go with Gemini.
I've got to give Gemini credit. I know we're Microsoft through and through, but I've got to give Gemini credit on this one. What it produces now, I'm an older guy. I learned to code at a younger age. Maybe coding has changed. Maybe I'm the one that's behind. But the way Gemini produces it is the way I learned it. Back in the day, it's a very readable code. It's easy to edit. It's easy to change. It's easy to write new functions. Copilot's iteration of it is, excuse my French, where the hell's that at? Or where the hell did you put that? That's kind of, and then you have to give it another prompt. Well, where is this? Well, then it goes off on a tangent.
That's all it is. You're missing the whole point. It's going right over your head. Copilot wants attention. It wants constant communication.
It must be.
If I got to talk to you about asking about over and over, if we're developing a friendship, that's what it wants. Gemini is cold and calculated. Nobody wants that.
Well, Well, for coding, I like coding calculated.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You need a friend. You need a friend that'll take in the wrong direction. My rant is twofold. And again, we talked about this.
Okay, what you got?
I think you're going to agree with me, and I hope everyone else does. And I'll make it short again. One, the charging cables or data cables or devices need to be made out of whatever is on the space station. I will pay for it extra if it lasts longer. And I'm going to say this because the other part of my rant is that the technology for CarPlay and Android Auto needs to be, I don't know if it's proprietary or if it's just better Bluetooth. It needs to be built in so that we're not connecting our cables to our cars, because I am suffering constantly from moving the phone or the phone sliding as I'm driving and losing all of my Android Auto, or my wife losing her Apple CarPlay. And this is constant. And I say this because there was a device that was presented at Mobile World Congress, which is a dongle, which I think is great, that you can plug into this thing and allow your phone to be, mounted if you need to, or put in your purse or whatever, if you need it just away. But the idea is that it won't be connected to the car via cable that seems to be, an eyelash sensitive as far as the movement in your cars, because these cables that we have don't last very long. So that's my rant, is fix the cable or advance the technology in the car so that we don't necessarily need to plug in it all the time. I know you might need it for security reasons or for data transfers, but I think we should be able to just use faster Bluetooth if that's the case. And then again, you can mount your phone on a MagSafe thing if you need to, where there's no, again, I think it's also aesthetically pleasing. You don't have a cable hanging down going across your ventilation system or your knobs or whatever else it is in your car. This is just, we should be advancing. I don't know why we're still using cables. What is this, 5 years in now, 6 years in, 7 years into Android Auto and CarPlay? Bluetooth, people, Bluetooth.
Well,
go ahead.
You bring up a great point, because we've been doing this for years. If you think about it, what you just asked for, we've been doing for years. Go get a Turtle Beach headset. That's just first thing that comes to mind. There's other things to do. When you turn that headset on, what do? They create a private Wi-Fi network that nothing else can use. And they automatically attach to that network. So why couldn't we put that in the stereo headsets like you're talking about in our car, to where only Apple knows to look for that network, and that network puts out a certain signal that Apple understands, and one person can connect to CarPlay, or all 5 people in the car can connect to CarPlay if that's what's needed. It makes sense, man. That's why we don't have it.
With that being said, let's move into our news section, because none of our rants ever get solved. We just come up with new ones each week. Some of them the same ones sometimes.
It makes us feel better to get it out.
Yes. Just get it off your chest. Free yourself. We got Copilot SidePain as our new topic of our first topic of the day, and that is, let me pull this up. Let's put this on the screen. Yes, here we go. Microsoft is testing out a new SidePain for Copilot, and I wrote in my piece about how Microsoft has had issues with the SidePain, particularly in Edge, but it looks like they might have figured out a way to circumvent all of that. And in doing so, they may have just teased out what the new UI for Windows is going to be. And I'll get to all of that. I'll put all these pieces together in a second. The issue with SidePain in Edge, all of us have kind of, dealt with it over the past 6 years, is, it used to be a place where you had collections, and you could do a bunch of other things with it. And then they moved it over to, you can put mini apps in, which I do use often. Then it became Bing Chat, and now it's become Copilot in some aspects and has a floating window. There's also the new, if you're testing out Edge, there's another version of Copilot on the other side of it. They're just, they're having trouble putting Copilot where it needs to be on Edge. But it seems like going forward, what they're going to do instead is just put Copilot in the taskbar as your end-all be-all destination. For those of us who've been testing the latest versions of Windows, it's your general search now. you can go into the Copilot search window and find things local on your device via the web or from Copilot search in general. And it looks like instead of what it used to do was if you needed something from the web, it would link out to Edge or your preferred browser if you could figure out the way to kind of make it a new default. Instead, it's just going to pull up a new website pane within Copilot. And I say this is the future of Windows is because, again, if they're putting all the settings, things that, local files, your file explorer, essentially, most of the functions that you have, if you need to pull up an app, instead of having just apps pinned on the desktop, you just go down to Copilot, and Copilot can start to figure out your usage of certain things. It'll start to, pull up apps in your search that it knows that you're going to need next. So again, if I go to plan the podcast and I use PowerPoint, I'll use OneNote, I'll use, the Edge browser. If I start with just, all right, PowerPoint, and then I go to, type in, I need something else, it'll suggest, hey, do you want OneNote right now? Should I bring up the Edge browser? And do I need to preload with StreamYard? I think instead of us, having so many other clicks around the desktop, you're just going to go to Copilot. I think that's the future where I think Windows wants. But this window pane is, I think, the early steps of that. What are your thoughts on that? Or am I just way off?
No, I think you're right on target. I think, if Microsoft can get you into Copilot, let's go through this for 30 seconds. If they can get you into Copilot and get you to asking Copilot questions, and that's where you have to go to get things done, what are you tempted to do with some of those questions? You're tempted to put that credit card down and go, okay, they'll fix it. Where if you subscribe to Copilot Pro, you get this. You'll get that answer. So what are you going to do? You're going to subscribe to Copilot Pro. You're going to give them their money, and you're going to get your answer and your task completed because you're going into it anyway. So it's a way for them to satisfy investors and sell some more Copilot. I get that. I did read when this came out that you would be able to save your passwords in Copilot. Now, there's some questions there about security. I saw that pop up right away on some posting and some messaging. There's some questions there about security. What's that going to be like? What's that going to look like? Because Copilot has been known for not always being the most secure in some ways. So I think that I'm in agreement with you. I think this is where we're going. Now, I will add one thing that needs to be fixed. I looked down at my search bar when you mentioned that you could use Copilot in the search bar. I love being able to do that. It's one of my favorite new features of Windows. But when you type it in the search bar, I need the answer in the search bar. Because what you do is when you type it in, it launches Copilot up on over to the left or to the right of your screen. It would be nice if there was not a workflow break there, where you could type it in the search bar, type your prompt in, and Copilot would pop up there and give you your answer. The other thing, while they're fixing, if they want to fix something for me and they want to do something nice, the copy paste needs to be a little better too. You put some things in there and it puts the other brown color behind it, for lack of a better way to put it, and you can't copy paste, and you have to ask it again, hey, can you give this to me in a way that I can copy paste? And then it'll put, like in a command prompt type view, and then you can copy paste out. Little things like that would make this a much easier way for people to go, and I think people would adopt this side pane idea.
I think so too. Well, we'll keep an eye on this going forward, but I think that's, again, they're going to keep building more and more functions into Copilot versus, the other aspects of Windows, if I had to guess. Our next one is Build. We got an official date for Build, and we know where they're going to be at going forward. It looks like, make sure I get the right dates for this. What did we say it was at?
It went to.
We're moving from Seattle to San Francisco. And we're going to be. I just want to make sure I get the dates right for everybody. Here we go.
Well, I tell you,
It'll run from June
okay.
2nd through June 5th, which is interesting. It's much later than it normally is. This is going to be right around the same time as it was WWDC.
Yeah, it's around that time.
Usually Microsoft is one of the first ones out of the gate. And I know that, what do we have? Google I.O. is now going to be.
Yeah, Google I/O and Build were in a competition of which events you were going to go to last year.
Right. Now it looks like Microsoft has seeded the ground for Google I/O, let them go out and kick off the developer conference season, and it's going to come in second, I think, with this date. And then at WWDC, probably the next week after. We got a bunch of sessions. It looks like the overall theme, as you could have guessed it, is AI. We will see if they actually do Windows here as Windows fans and people of old school software, so to speak. We'd love to see them pay more attention here, but typically over the last 3 to 4 years, they've broken out Windows from Build and had a separate event for it. So maybe they'll do some kind of Windows event in May, followed up with Build for developers and AI focused stuff in June. Maybe that's why they're setting the stage this much later. But we wanted to give you guys just a little bit of history on why they're leaving Seattle, a little context, I suppose. We wrote earlier, or mid last year, I want to say, after the summer, Microsoft cut its ties with the Seattle Convention Center in downtown Seattle due to safety concerns. They said that they didn't want the attendees to have to walk around people who were openly using drugs, unhoused, not necessarily crime as a rising crime, but just harassment necessarily. So they're taking it to San Francisco. The other thing is that they have a lot of AI partners. OpenAI is in San Francisco. Anthropic, I believe, is up in San Francisco. So it's just going to be easier to get people who are going to, who are already up there working on this type of technology to come to the conference. It'll be easy. You don't have to have a plane ticket, although I'm sure some of these developers can afford to fly if they need to, or the companies will pay for it. But that's where they're going to be at this year. I don't know if they're going to do something where they move it around, which I think would be kind of cool. Move it to Austin, move it to Chicago a couple following years, or if they're just going to stay in San Francisco. They've done this before they went back to San Francisco before they went back to Seattle over the last few years, but they don't seem to be going back anytime soon. What are your thoughts on the developer conference?
We saw it coming. We covered this when it was mentioned shortly after Build of last year. And why not take it to different places? Give some of these smaller developers that don't have the budget to necessarily, book the hotel rooms, pay for the food, pay for the transportation. I'm okay with it being moved every few years. I would love, I'm going to be a stooge for a minute. I'd love to see it come to the East Coast. I'd go. Not that I can't fly to the West Coast, but the East Coast is a lot cheaper for me and a lot cheaper for you too. I would be glad. I would be glad to go. Now, there'll be some people say, well, Microsoft shouldn't, change it because the environment, that they should look past it. I understand that viewpoint, but I get why they're changing it too. Like you said, Anthropic is in San Francisco. OpenAI has an office there. What are we talking about right now? AI. That's where we're at. If we're talking about beaches and other things, maybe we need to go where you are. But
and the other thing too
that was mentioned while you were talking.
Oh, go ahead.
I said I was looking at the calendar while you're talking. We're almost a quarter of the way through 2026. Kind of like you, I'm ready to see what Windows and Microsoft has got in store for the rest of the year.
I was going to say though, the other thing you should be of note is that Microsoft's attendance is down for Build. I think they were projected to have 5,000 people attend last year, and I think they had a number of it's like 3,500 or something like seats sold or something whatnot. So I think they are trying to save some money from not booking such a big place, and two, seeing again if maybe travel might have been the issue. People in San Francisco didn't want to travel to Seattle, so you take it to them, and so your 4,000, $5,000, 5,000 seat event will actually get filled. So that could be another concern that they have, and a part of the reason why they're moving. That being said, we're going to move on to talking about developers. The result of what developers give us, which is the Pixel drop. You put this on the docket. What do you got to say about it?
Yeah. Yes, I did. I saw some interesting things in the Pixel docket, and we always, there's always talk about iOS and their new versions and all the new things that they're putting out. Let's not forget that the Pixels are out there too. They do what they call regular Pixel drops, and your Pixel drops are good for 7 years. Like, let me give you some examples of what we've got in the March Pixel drop. There's some cool and possibly some useful stuff in here. Apple TV casting. Let's just go ahead and start there. You can cast your Google phone to an Apple TV. Bet you didn't see that coming at any point in time, that those two would get along in that way. You've got an Android Auto Kid mode. Think about this. Kids in the back seat, throw your Android phone in Auto Kid mode. They can't get to your YouTube, your private messages. They get the educational games and the educational experience. The Find Hub. You can share tracker tags and locations with friends and family. Kind of sounds like, the Apple, Apple Locator or whatever it is that they use. That's a good feature people would like. You can have message mentions in your messaging, your Google Messages with your RCS by using your @ Like if I wanted to say @ Kareem in a message, he would be included in that message. Some folks will appreciate that. I like that. Soundtrack generator right there on your phone. We got it in Gemini a couple weeks ago. We covered it, but you can describe a vibe, and you can even get a photo with it, and it'll create a music vibe right there on your phone. This could be good. Little social gatherings, social get-togethers. Give people something fun to do, something fun to play with. Let's see what else we got in here that's interesting. We've got the live translate in your headphones. I thought we already had this, but maybe we didn't. Real-time translation in over 70 languages, preserving the time and cadence of that language right there in your headphones. I like this. For those that travel overseas, you can get that translation in your headset and not have to worry about other people hearing that around you. Now, there's a few other things in here, like gaming pages in the Play Store have been added. You've got a Google Play video preview, but I highlighted the big ones and the ones that I find interesting. And it feels like Google Pixel and Apple are continuing to slide closer together in their functions and their functionality, which is what they need to do, in my opinion. But as usual, Apple does it first. Google's kind of sliding in second on a couple of these things, but overall, good features.
Yeah, I think it's, part of again, everyone will tell you that's the reason why you choose a Pixel over Galaxy. Galaxy has a lot of hardware features, a bigger ecosystem, but when it comes down to it, if you just love the experience isolated on your phone, the Pixel offers more. It does. It does better at intuitive software features than Galaxy. And again, I'm not saying by a large margin. Galaxy's getting pretty intuitive themselves. It's just, again, if you're on the Android side, there are reasons that people love a Pixel. And it's these small little things, a little convenience, and good on them. It's a bigger drop than most monthly updates. Maybe they've been waiting to kind of drop this on everybody. I still have yet to go through all of them. I've been playing around with a couple of them, but yeah, it's been fun. That being said, let's get into the biggest news. I know you've been itching to talk about this since you are the resident Apple fanboy. We're going to talk about our MacBooks.
Yeah.
Do you want to do Pros, Airs, or do you want to do the Neo? I'll let you pick.
How about I do the Neo? Because that one is actually of interest to me, believe it or not.
Okay. I mean, they're all kind of bunched together, but I'll let you rant about the Neo, and I'll just go to the
Yeah,
specs.
let me rant for just a second. Let me find where I put the. Did I not put the Neo in the notes here? Where did I not put
You
them?
probably
Let's
did
see.
not, but let's see. We can get some Neo information up here real quick because it was an
Let
interesting
me see
little.
what we got here. What we do know, let me tell you what we do know. We do know that it's a 13-inch laptop. We
Right.
do know that it comes in some pretty cool colors, but what is interesting here and not interesting in the same sentence as I pull up apple.com to get all the deeds and details on this. It is powered by the A18 Pro chip.
Yeah, they're
Now,
not using
when
the M chip.
you hear that, you know, and when you hear that, you kind of go, "What? This thing is not going to be that great." Let's think this through. What's in your iPhone? You've got the A19, I believe, is in the new iPhones. The 18 was in the version before the 15 and 16. You've also got the A18 in that's what was in the iPads before we went to the M series. So, what have we been criticizing Apple for? Not being able to run Mac OS on an iPad. Guess what you're getting ready to do? You're getting ready to run Mac OS on iPad hardware in a laptop form factor.
Yes.
You've got two USB-C ports on the side. This is where Apple kind of lost me for a second. The front one is your USB-C port for your charging, your data out. Your second one is USB-C, but it's on the 3.0 standard, so you're only getting 480 megs out of that. So that would be where your mouse, keyboard, or maybe a webcam or your slower storage could go. So you've only got two ports, those ports on the left-hand side. You do not get a, what do they call it? Haptic feedback trackpad. It's a standard diving board click pad. For those that have tried it, they say it's not bad. You do get the Touch ID if you slide up $100 to the $699 model. Now your RAM, this is kind of the bad news, but it's the only bad news. Your RAM is limited to 8 gig. There is no 16 gig option. There is no way to upgrade it. So if you're already thinking I'm going to video edit on this thing, you might want to think again. Might not be pulling that off too well. You're probably not going to be able to heavy duty multitask, but that's not where Apple's going with this. I like where Apple is going with this. You've got 16 hours of battery life stated. What the actual battery life is, we'll have to wait and see. These were put up for pre-order yesterday and are available for $599 for the lower model, $699 for the upper model with Touch ID and 512 gig of storage in the upper model. Those are available on the 11th, which is next week. So people will be able to get your hands on those, be able to see what they're all about. I think these are good little devices because I think in reality, this is what your students need. This is what your basic home productivity device could be. This could be your throw it on the couch device. This could be, I need to use a laptop while I'm watching TV or I'm enjoying a movie. And it's a good way to get into the Apple ecosystem and see if it's for you without having to jump all the way up there to the M5 and the M5 Pro and, drop $1,000. I like where this sits. It's got some interesting specs, some unique specs, but so did the Apple M1 MacBook when it first came out. Look what it turned into. So hopefully this sells well and, we get a MacBook Neo 2 or Neo 3 or whatever, with better specs, with a better screen, and we see a resurgence of lower priced devices from Apple. This is the lowest they've ever been. I think there was a 12-inch MacBook. It was just called the MacBook a few years ago. that was really thin. It was under $1,000, but if you looked at it wrong, it would overheat and didn't perform very well. So I hope this does well for Apple.
I think this is going to do very well for Apple because I think it's going to replace the iPad.
You think we're going to get that far? I don't disagree, but I question if we'll get that far.
I think in ways, especially at schools, which is I think what they're aiming. A lot of people talking about aiming this for because it's a, like you said, it's a $599, $499 for education. We have a lot of Chromebooks that are sitting around that came in at that price, around anywhere between $300 to $500, depending on which branding of Chromebook you got. Now they're all just kind of sitting around because everyone's bringing in their MacBooks, they're bringing in their low price Windows that can do a little bit more. While this chip is a very powerful mobile chip, we've seen what the iPads can do. You said, we're running Mac OS on iPad hardware, which is, what everyone iPad silicon, which is what everyone's been complaining about until the M series showed up. That the A series has always been a very powerful mobile system. Again, this thing is fanless. If you're a parent or teacher or someone recommending a device, this is more sturdy. I know that iPads can have cases and but if you can close this thing, you've now protected the screen, which is the key factor to a device. Their choice of aluminum is a little interesting. I know that they want the premium feel of this thing. Aluminum dents and bends pretty badly, which is why I think a lot of people use plastic. Plastic does break, but it's a little different than seeing the unsightly dents and bangs from dropping these things, which I think will happen. We'll see if, Apple switches to what is it? The carbonate. What is it? What were the polycarbonate? If they switch to that or something like that in order to keep the motor and stuff in the next version of this. But I think, if you're going to give a student a device, I would give them this. You don't need to have a special case. You don't need to buy the $200, $300, Magic Keyboard. You don't need to go to Amazon to buy, an attached case that hangs off the tablet sometimes and doesn't fold correctly. This thing has the keyboard connected to the screen itself. It's simplified, streamlined. That's what's going to be started handing out. And again, I think if you're as a parent, here you go. Here's your computer that does, FaceTime. It does. It has all your messaging on it. It has the stuff that connects to your phone. And it's the one device. I don't, need to buy all this extra accessories, things like that. I think that's where it's going to start to fold in. As far as Windows devices, I think it just, we always try and pit them based on price and functionality. I think it comes down to the operating system at the end of the day. That's the thing now. People who are comfortable with Windows can get a Windows device for this price and, maybe get a little bit more, maybe not. It doesn't, at this point, I don't think, whatever you're doing on a $500 device isn't very resource extensive. You're not content creating. You're not doing heavy loads of researching. You're not using a ton of AI. You're basically using this to triage email, maybe open up some documents and people send them to you. So, stuff that you can't view on your phone. So if I sent you hey, here's, the deed to your house, I need you to sign it or review it. You're not going to look at it on your phone. You're going to say, let me open up my computer, but I don't need a ton of battery. I don't need a ton of memory. I just need a bigger screen to view this on. At the end, like I said, it comes down to which operating device or operating system you enjoy doing these things on. And if you already have a device, again, people went out and bought a ton of Windows laptops during the pandemic. They will be up for, replacement. Again, computers are lasting pretty well these days. Software is getting more optimized. You can run Windows 11 on old devices. Maybe in about 3 years, we'll see the numbers start to switch to people saying, all right, I'm done using this Windows device. Let me try this low-cost Apple device as well because I have an iPhone or I used an iPad at school or something like that. But I think it's gonna be great for Apple, for everyone who's running to the heels of oh, this is the end of Windows, this is the end of Chromebooks. Let's slow down a little bit and see, if people even want. Because again, these aren't MacBooks. You got to make that clear. You got to understand that there are lots of features and lots of things that they cut out of these things. Like you said, the haptic trackpad's gone. The way the speakers are built, the sounds aren't going to be the same. You're not getting an M processor. you could buy an M1 MacBook. You could probably buy a used one for roughly, I think, $100 more and get more out of it. You get a bigger screen, you get better hardware. So, it's cool. I'm glad that they have this. I do want to see if they continue with this, if this isn't just another, hey, we did it for a year or two and then we got bored and we just streamlined everything, went back to the MacBook. Stick with it, Apple. It looks fun. Who knows? Maybe I'll be getting my daughters one of these in the next few years. The next story is actually their other devices, their MacBooks. We got the Pro and the Air got updated. We're going to kind of fly through these because not a lot changed. They got the M5 chip, so they got beefed up a little bit. The story here is, and I think this is part and parcel with the Neo, is that because the Neo is now part of the lineup, the Pro and the Air got bumped up about $100 or so. So, and that's
$100, but they each got more storage, so you kind of got that $100 give back to you in a good way.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the story of all of these devices in 2026, is that they're going to go over the price because RAM and storage are, in short supply these days, thanks to AI. Blame AI for this. But it should future-proof you. That's a good thing. And you don't necessarily have to have the headache of trying to decide, should I opt for this one or should I not? Apple's kind of making that choice for you, saying, all right, if you want this, you're going to need to cough up the money, buddy. Sorry. So I think design-wise, they're pretty much the same devices, speakers, all that kind of stuff. If you got ones without the fans, I believe, it's the same sort of situation. We also got the tablets, I think, were updated as well. iPad Air.
The iPad Air was updated.
Yeah. So they got the M4. They're one chip behind in the new iPad Air lineup. The phones got the A19, I believe. The 17E is the name of the new iPhone that they just talked about. That's their low budget, single camera, smaller phone, so to speak. But again, storage has been doubled down. So you go from 128 to 256 automatically. A19 chip. MagSafe is there on this device. It's got a tougher build. It uses a ceramic Shield 2. And I think as far as the iPad, you have, again, like I said, we have the M4. Apple claims it's about 30% faster than the M3 version. Again, these are all supposed to be doing the heavy lifting of iPad OS 26 and iPhone OS 26, which I think I just downloaded on one of my test devices. Looks a lot the same, probably just a little more polished.
What he's telling you here, folks, is he's an under the table iPhone user.
I was gonna breeze right through that. I was hoping nobody noticed. You caught me. Dang it. Guilty as charged. The iPad Air support a Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6, and they have a new N1 wireless chip for the cellular models. I don't know who buys a cellular iPad. They really don't. The 13-inch starts at $599. The 13-inch starts at $799, and pre-orders began about 2 days ago with availability in stores on the 11th. I believe that's for both the phone and the tablet. As far as the availability for the MacBooks, I think those are... they were, same. They were up for pre-order 2 days ago, available in stores on the 11th. The Pro, you get the Fusion architecture, which allows now for 18-core CPU, 6 super cores and 12 efficiency cores. Again, also 30% faster than the M4, but it's supposed to be up to 2 times faster than the M1 Pro Max chips. So if you bought an M Pro 1 Max, you wasted your money. GPU cores have been also upgraded with 20 in Pro in the Pro model and 40 in the Max model. So there's an M5 Max chip out there. There's a new neural accelerator integrated in every GPU core, which gives about 4 times faster AI compute modes. Again, they're still using the unified memory architecture, which is how they're able to kind of, I think, max out at 64 gigabyte of memory for the M Pro and for the Max. And then there's a 48 gigabyte limit for the Pro. And they say you get up to 24 hours of battery life. I doubt that, especially if you're going to be using this thing to the max. You get a 12 megapixel camera, which supports center stage, 6-speaker setup, and the colors that they offer are the same. I think space black and silver for the Pro lineups. They keep it very boring. And then there's the Air, which let me see the specs for that. You get it with the options. The storage is increased to about 512 gigabytes. You can also customize up to 4 terabytes if you're willing to pay for that. The baseline, like my partner said, it starts at 16 gigabytes from memory, which can also, with options up to 32. You can do 24 and 32. They also have the baseline M5, which has a 10-core CPU, 8-core GPU, and the neural accelerator as well. It also has Wi-Fi 7, but it only has Bluetooth 5 for some reason. You get 2 Thunderbolt ports, just like you would on this Neo as well, and the MacBook.
And it's worth noting that those are Thunderbolt 5 ports that support
Correct.
2 displays.
Yeah, they finally got around that. Their M5 was bottleneck for a while. You get a 12 megapixel center stage camera array. This one, they're saying the Air lasts up to 18 hours, and you get 13 and 15-inch variants. Starting price is about $1,000. Again, like we said, up about $100 from the M4 models. And they have the same availability. They start on March 4th, and in store on the 11th. So that is your Apple update. Let's move on beyond Apple, shall we? And move to MWC, Mobile World Congress 2026. We're going to try and fly through this as quickly as we can, because there was a lot of news, because it is a big conference. But again, Mobile World Conference was this week. Some of the highlights from the show, I just kind of quickly pulled, which is, let me bring this up. There we go. That one is the Xiaomi 17 Ultra. Actually, what you have in front of you right now is the Honor Magic 6. It was, on the show floor, considered one of the best foldables out. That's again due to its durability story. It has an IP68 and 69 water industrial resistance rating for the hinge. It's been tested for over a million folds. It also has pin support, which is again something that Samsung dropped and doesn't seem to be coming back anytime soon. In light of the way of carrying the pen and for thinness, so it looks like Honor is just saying, hey, just carry it separately, but you'll at least have support for it. And Samsung saying, no one even used it, so we're getting rid of it. But that was one of the mobile devices that kind of was a highlight at the show. There's also the Xiaomi 17 Ultra. It's got the big lens on the back, which reminds me of the Lumia 1020, for those of you who are old Windows Phone fans.
Oh, man. He went way back.
I did. But doesn't that remind you of the big round circle on the back of the phone?
It does. That's a good memory.
Yeah, and it's got apparently the long range camera system is what is the big showcase for this. Slap phones are slap phones, but if we're going to start making big gains in camera technology beyond what we're some AI tweaking here and there, you're just going to need to put bigger sensors in. And it looks like Xiaomi is going all in on that. They are partnering up with Leica, so that should be good. And I think it's got some kind of advanced periscope optics put into this big round camera. And I think that has 4 lenses, if I'm not mistaken. Then there was, I believe, Red Magic 11 Pro. And it's a gaming phone that looks like a gaming phone. It's also got about 5 lenses and this industrial gaming look to it. It's got a pretty aggressive cooling tech that's supposed to be in here, a high fresh display, gaming specific optimizations on the phone. I don't know who needs a gaming specific phone. I think people who like a phone that can maybe play specific games, but a gaming specific phone seems very interesting because I don't, who's the person who spends more time gaming on their phone than doing other things on their phone? I don't know. It could be for you.
they've got a tablet that they do. I've always wanted to try one of their devices out. They've also got a tablet that does the same thing. So I think part of what they do is, they overclock some of the hardware and they add some of their software skins on top of it. And gaming is kind of what Red Magic is known for, in that type of hardware.
Yeah, this is what they call the Wuthering Waves edition. So they have a partnership with Wuthering Waves. I wonder, as we see all these what do they call the devices where you can like bookend controller headsets to it? If you can just start playing more of your AAA or PC type games on these devices, depending on what the operating system allows for stores, if you can start playing Steam games on these things, I could see that being useful. If you have an hour or two to kill, and 50% of your battery. And you could play these things right on your device. Who knows? But again, it's a 7-inch screen pretty much altogether. Moving beyond that, we also have actual gaming hardware, which is the Lenovo Legion Go Fold. Obviously, there were a ton of laptops announced at the event. Lenovo had a whole showcase. Asus had some stuff as well. But we were just kind of picking out some of the more interesting things that we saw. And this was by far one of the most interesting hybrid devices. It's a gaming handheld tablet with a compact workstation that also can fold. So imagine a tablet that can fold or unfold, and then you can connect gaming controllers to the side of it. And then if you need to actually get some work done, take the controllers off, and you have a Bluetooth connected keyboard to actually get work done as well. It's a kind of an all-in-one. It's got a portable play aspect to it that adapts to a docked productivity aspect of it. Again, this is all conceptual. It's interesting that they call it conceptual because these are products separately that Lenovo does sell. Like, it has this foldable laptop tablet. It has
the handheld.
Exactly. They just kind of put it all together. And I think they said concept to see, hey, would people spend money on it? I think some would. I don't know a lot. Would you spend money on it?
Yeah, I would. And I'm sure it's got a price tag that I wouldn't spend on it. Let's be clear about that. I'm sure the price tag is well beyond what I would spend. But assuming I had the money, I would like to see how a device like that would turn out. Because essentially what you have in a handheld now is a PC. I mean, you plug it into a USB-C dock and voila, you can use it as a PC. So what Lenovo's done here is kind of give you the best of all worlds, the portability with the folio style keyboard. Now, for me to get any work done, they'd have to pull those controllers off the right and left. I'm just not going to get any work done at all. But if I could afford it, which without even asking a price, I'm pretty sure I couldn't. I'm sure I could buy 2 of those MacBook Pros that we just discussed, probably for what I could
easily
buy 1 of those.
Or you could buy yourself, 4 of the MacBook Neos.
I would try it.
Yeah, it looks fun. Like I said, for those of you who are listening, just picture a tablet with controllers connected to it, or those of you who have a handheld, stretch the screen out to about 10 to 11 inches. That's what you're going to be basically getting. Probably a little bit thinner too. The next thing we got is the Honor Robot Phone. It's a phone prototype that uses robotics and AI-driven interactions. It's not a commercial product just yet, but it's all concept stuff. But the idea of this thing is it's going to be using AI to kind of do a lot of the camera stuff for you. So if you're a content creator, instead of having to hold selfies up or grab, gimbals or use selfie sticks, this thing you can put down. It has like what looks to be an attached webcam that kind of pops up from the top of it. It'll be able to follow in and focus on you if you just put your phone down and start walking about. If you're going to be doing any vlogging, things like of that nature, it can auto start to put things in frame and focus, cut actual edit clips and things for you right off the bat. It's a cool thing. I think, it's Honor, so it's, it's not going to be here widely sold in the US, but I think if Apple or Samsung particularly started building these kind of phones, that I think there would be an audience, a big audience for content creators.
I think so too. I would buy that too. So if anybody wants to contribute, you can. But, By the time I got to buying that, I probably would out of money by the time I bought the MacBook and the the
Oh yeah,
Lenovo
we'll,
concept.
we'll
And
give we'll give everyone your GoFundMe after the show. We have
okay,
Xiaomi's
sounds
Vision
good.
Gran Turismo Hyper Concept car. Again, there are tons of cars that are shown during Mobile World Congress. This is just one that we thought was a really cool, interesting one. It's got let me see the details of this thing. I think it's specs on that. Make sure I get this for you, because I mean, I want to describe it for the people who are listening. Because if you see the pictures of it, you got to be like, that is a super cool looking car.
I would need a GoFundMe for that too.
You're basically just saying, just pay for my life, huh?
Yeah, David needs toys. Here's the GoFundMe.
This basically has a 1900 HP electric hypercar concept, again called the Vision Gran Turismo. And again, we should also note that Xiaomi, I think, is part of the Chinese car company ventures that are outselling or outpacing the Model 3 right now in China. So, if they start making concept cars, obviously this stuff gets, sanded down and eventually given to a different version of this to the, buying public. But, they're trying to, get into the lane of Ferrari, Lamborghini, and Porsche, this kind of thing. Again, we won't see this particular car, but again, who knows, in about 2 years or so, when they refine this a little bit more, if we have, that Lamborghini version of a electric car. Nevertheless, go check out our website for some of that stuff, or you can look online to YouTube, catch some videos of the video of the car itself. Last thing we're going to be wrapping up with is some of the more technical things of it, Mobile World Congress, which was the chip stuff that came out. A lot of chip makers like AMD, Intel, NVIDIA, Qualcomm, and we're all talking about boosting Wi-Fi, boosting connectivity, getting AI, and a lot of talk about 6G was mentioned during Mobile World Congress. I think Qualcomm has a couple new chips that should be, basically they're going to put AI into the chips to monitor and meter out some of these faster uploads and download speeds that these new Internet of Devices are going to be using and utilizing. And they're going to kind of intelligently shift where data is going. Hopefully that'll save you a little bit of money on the back end. I think they had a industrial version of this, their flagship Dragon Wing. I don't know very much about it, but it's an Pro 8 Elite, which brings about 5x5 Wi-Fi 8 radios and a new pentacore CPU and a hexagon NPU that can run on devices. It can help inference tasks like congestion prediction, traffic shaping, and anomaly detections. Again, this is all for the transfer of data and stuff going in and out of these devices, mostly for in your home, I think. So if you're controlling stuff by your phone, you'll have more precise efficiency on these kind of things. The Qualcomm claims that it's about 40% higher throughput and a typical distance of 2.5 lower latency during peak usage, 30% lower daily energy use. And the variants extend the platform to fiber gateways and fixed wireless access. The other things we had were, these are just last two, and then we'll wrap this pod up. It's getting kind of long. The Motorola MA2 wireless Android Auto dongle. This is the thing that I was talking about that was at the beginning of my rant. This is built with Google engineering tech, simplifies the transition to wireless Android Auto. This is what I want. If we can't get car makers to build this into their own in-dash entertainment, we need more of these things. I would put this dongle, you can attach it to the dash if you want to. You can put it in a, center console, glove compartment, whatever. But this is the ability to have Android Auto without using that stupid cord to plug into your car. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you. That's exactly what I want to see. And that was, to sound a little bit corny here, all those, nice AI PC sounded good, and the Dragon sounded even better with Wi-Fi 8. But really, what catches my attention is the Android Auto and the cordless way of doing that, because when you get in the front of somebody's car and you sit down, what do you have to do 9 times out of 10? Family members, friends, doesn't matter. You got to move those dad blasted cords out of the way. That's what we'll call them, dad blasted cords. And we've got all this technology and we want people to be safe on the roads. You really got me thinking about this. You had it as your rant, now you're covering it as a story. And I've been sitting here thinking about this. It just makes sense to get the cords out as a safety mechanism. Forget technology. Look at it from safety. It just makes sense to get the cords out.
You would think so.
100%.
The last thing we had was the Anker Soundcore Space 2s. These were a big hit at the event. Again, they're bringing premium noise cancellation, comfort, and the biggest part is that they're at a mid-range price. They're not these $300-$400, $500-$600 headphones that you get from Bose or Apple or anything like that. So it's been interesting. It's been cool to watch Soundcore's trajectory because they start off relatively cheap. They're making their way up to mid, but they have kept that pricing just a tier below everybody else. But it seems to be where everyone tends to go if they aren't bought into an ecosystem. If you're not a huge Apple person, you don't have the money for I forget the name of their headphones, or if you're not
AirPods Max, $599.
Or if you're not bought in on Bose or Sony, these are really good headphones for the price. So I'm glad that these are out, and I think they're coming in a couple different colors. That's the end of our Mobile World Congress wrap-up. If you want to know about specific laptops and things like that, go check out the website. We're going to shift into free play days and let David take this on because I've been talking a lot.
Yep, I'm going to give you some free play days. Let me get these pulled up here. All right, we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3. We've got 4 this week, and they all 4 look good. I'm kind of going to eliminate one because it's, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is in free play days. And I think a lot of people have played Black Ops 7 by this point, but you've got a special opportunity to play, and that will last all the way through March the 11th. So that one's kind of extended this week. If you haven't, if you're living under a rock and you haven't tried Call of Duty Black Ops 7, feel free to do so. Jump on in there and give that a go. Let's see what else we have. And again, these go from March 5th to the 8th. So they started yesterday. The high-speed racing one was Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Lets you race across land, air, and sea, and in space with 23 Sonic characters. Build custom vehicles, unlock gadgets, and compete online. This one is 40% off. Then you've got another shooter-style game. You've got, let me make sure I say this correctly, Black Desert Standard Edition lets you explore Massive Fantasy World and its cross-play anniversary celebration. New players get a smooth start thanks to the recent Olivia Academy update. Now, I've not played it. I don't know what that is. Obviously, that is a big update in that game, so you folks will have to leave me some comments and let me know. I don't know if I'll get around to trying that one. Now, just to give you one that's free for everyone, we have FBC Firebreak. That is a first on the list co-op first-person shooter set inside a mysterious federal agency. That uses supernatural forces. Interesting. You fight through their bizarre crises and push back the invasion as part of the Firebreak unit. I wonder if somebody, the developer, that's trying to tell us something. Let's see. Just when I read that, that's kind of what crossed my mind there for a minute. These go again from March 5th to March 9th with the Call of Duty Black Ops 7 going all the way through March the 11th. Make sure you catch the deals on these. These do go discounted a little bit. For example, the FBC Firebreak is on sale for $41.99. The others listed did not have a price at the time that I wrote this up. So usually when Microsoft does that, you can kind of count on that one's not getting a discount for the week. Call of Duty Black Ops 7. If you want to purchase that, you're not a Game Pass member, you can go all the way to $59.99 on that. So a little discount there. Again, to get these, Xbox.com or on your console, you can migrate to your account, your membership, Game Pass, and then down to free play days, and you can pick these up. Now, with that being said, the one I'm going to try this weekend is probably the Sonic racing game. That looks interesting, just something to blow off some steam. And I'm probably going to try FBC Firebreak just to see what type of federal agency I'm having a first-person shooter in. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I might do that as well. That looks like it should be fun. And if I'm not doing that, I actually recently just picked up Grand Theft Auto again. I got the itch. We're back and down. Playing some Grand Theft Auto for right now. It's been fun. I'm starting off as a gun runner on online.
They're getting him ready for the end of the year. That's what they're doing.
I think so. It's it's been interesting. I've already failed 2 missions, but I look to fail some more this weekend. Where can people find you if they want to hang out with you?
Please do, David P.88. I will probably, and that's on Blue Sky. I will probably do some streaming tonight. Might even be some Black Ops streaming. I've kind of leveled up over there, and when you level up in that game, it kind of gets a little more fun. So I'll probably jump in over there and give that a whirl. So David P.88. Drop me a note over there on Blue Sky, and I'll include you in the stream if you stop by.
You can find me at Happy Hulk at Blue Sky as well, or Cream Anderson on Threads. I have a lot of yard work, so I don't know how much gaming I'll be doing during the day. Maybe if I can stay awake at night, I can fail some more missions on Grand Theft Auto. We want you guys to enjoy your weekend, have some fun. Please take into consideration what you're doing, and we'll see you guys next weekend.
See you guys next week. Have a good weekend, everybody. And as we like to say, have fun.